Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm today in studio with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
Good. We are color coordinated again by accident.
Yes, that happens sometimes. It does happen. All right. So for today, I want to talk a little bit about Porsche's got doing something new with the Cayenne.
Hmm.
Let's see, BMW's doing a redo on the i3. We're going to talk about Monday was the hottest day ever measured.
Yeah.
And there my computer crashed after pulling that one up. We're talking a little bit about Lucid Motors, a little
Yeah.
bit about Elon Musk's Trump endorsement or lack thereof.
Or retraction.
Let's
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to talk about Elon Musk's cult of personality, what is going on, how the oil companies are lying to you about electric cars. I've got an odd article about insurance premiums in China, which I thought,
Yeah.
might be
Well,
worth
I
talking
thought that
about.
I was. Yeah, that's why I posted that one. I thought
Yeah,
that was interesting.
but and I got something about a new electric car in South Africa of all places, which isn't really something that really is relevant probably to a lot of listeners. So we are going to discuss what's going on. We have somebody asking about an update on Lucid and Rivian. I don't really have anything today on Rivian, but we are going to talk about Lucid a little bit today. So
They're
you're
up. I
Rivian.
mean, yeah, they were. I think they're up 4% this morning, something like that. So
Yeah. So anyways, hold on a second. My
rebooting your
computer is.
computer.
Sometimes all of these news articles weigh so heavy on my computer resources
Yep.
that all of a sudden I'll start glitching.
And we're losing your audio too while we're at it. So
Right. Yeah, that was real good. Well, let's start out. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can actually present. So this is a little bit different. Oh yeah, it's getting wild at the moment.
okay. Well,
So my first story is about Porsche. So Porsche is introducing a new Cayenne electric prototype. So they're planning on releasing an all EV Cayenne for 2026.
mhm,
Now they currently have obviously gas, and they also have some hybrids. There's some hybrid
right.
Cayennes out there, not plug-in hybrids, just regular hybrids. And so they're going to add an EV hybrid. And I have some pictures, but I'm
Yeah.
so close to my computer just completely
Tripping.
bugging
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
that at the moment I'm not even sure where.
They keep putting all these pop-ups and ads and things, and it just makes it really hard to access some of
Yes,
these
this is
pages.
it still looks the same as the standard
Yeah.
gas Cayenne, but it's nice. I've actually felt when I've driven a Cayenne or ridden in one, they're extremely comfortable vehicles.
Mm,
And so, it's no wonder that car, that SUV is as popular as it is.
yeah. Well, the
Um,
thing is that they think they were saying that they're also going to continue with the gasoline engine version of it. Well into 2030, I think is what they were saying. So
I'm gonna get a.
they're introducing, options for their customers, which I guess is okay, but obviously we prefer plug-ins or better yet, even all electric versions.
Right. So, I'm going to try to cover some of the short topics today while I wait for and get so I maybe I can get my computer to recover. This is
Yeah,
really
okay, that's
hilarious.
good. Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit South Africa. So South Africa has a new cheapest electric car.
Yeah.
Now it's the Dayon Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. It's spelled
Yeah.
it's spelled
Well, just call
Yuehu.
it what is the S5 or something like whatever it
Yeah,
is.
it's the S5 is
Yeah.
now the most affordable EV in South Africa. Now, the reason I bring this up, it's starting at about 400,000 rands, but
Which is
that
about 20 a
is
little over $21,000.
yeah, it's about 21,000 US. It's got 330 kilometers of range.
Not
Uh,
bad.
and, and Bill and I were talking about this. Um, Oh God, it takes almost an hour to go 20 to 80% though on the charger. Not a very fast
Slow,
charging
slow
vehicle.
charger. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so this is definitely a lower end of
It's
kind
for
of like
dry. Yeah, it's not for driving from Durban to Joburg. It's or Cape Town to Joburg. Um, you'd have. I don't even know what kind of charging infrastructure they have there. It's obviously it's meant to be a city car. It's driving around
Rush.
those three larger metro areas.
So Dayun, the company was founded in China, which makes this car, initially focused on motorcycles and commercial vehicles before getting into electric cars. Its first electric car came out in 2017, which was a compact battery electric SUV, which is what this vehicle is.
Yeah,
Now, what's unclear here is if they're going to produce this vehicle in South Africa or they're simply selling it in South Africa.
yeah.
So there was some questions we had from the article that it never addressed. It only had, so here's something kind of interesting. It's got a 31.7 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, and it produces 330 kilometers of range. Now that works out to be
About 240,
a little over 200.
something like that.
Yeah, that's almost 8 miles per kilowatt hour of the battery. So that's must be a very light vehicle to be
Oh,
able
probably.
to produce that. Anyways, as I go through some of these, I'm hoping that I'll recover some PC power over here.
Speaking of Chinese vehicles, there's a video that I saw yesterday, and I don't think I've posted it yet. I haven't gotten around to putting it on, which sort of really castigates, the quality of Chinese vehicles in Russia.
Wow.
It's a Russian YouTuber that is going through and complaining about because I think the major because of the international embargo and so on, that a lot of a lot of the cars being imported now into China or into Russia are coming from China, and apparently the Russian people are not particularly happy with the quality of those cars. They were comparing them to what was it, Volkswagens, and what was the other one? Anyway, basically European made EVs. And I'll try to remember to get that posted. But they, they were the people aren't really very happy with the quality of the products coming across their border. So
Well, the Russians aren't happy with it, or who's
the
not happy with it?
Russians are not happy with the quality of the Chinese products. Yeah.
Oh, well, I find that kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Make a
it's
note
all
to make
relative,
sure I
right?
post that.
No, I get it. I get it. I am starting to be able to clean up my system a little bit here.
Okay.
Sorry, folks, I'm having some technical difficulties.
Technical issues. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's my PC. I don't think it's my internet. I don't want to endorse my current internet. I'm looking to change. Are you? We have that new fiber provider coming to
I'm
this
gonna I'm
area.
gonna I'm
I,
gonna consider it. Yeah.
oh,
Let
I've
me
already committed.
Oh, have you? Good. Well, let me know how it goes. Because what I'm doing, believe it or not, is I'm
Mhm.
still on ISDN.
Oh, wow.
I'm using my phone line
So,
through through a
you're
local
doing dual
phone
channel.
company provider. So,
Wow.
oh,
So
I
you're
don't
doing
know.
the.
I just take the thing and plug it into the old outlet that the phone used to be plugged in, and that's it. So, and it's hey, it's not bad, but
Wow. Wow. I used to do that back in late 90s. I
oh
had
yeah,
ISDN. It
yes,
was
yes.
amazing how solid it
I
was.
was on, I was on 14.4 when I started EV World, and I had to make my images this big because of the slow pace of the internet at that time. And ironic, I had cable. What do we call it? Coaxial. The coaxial
Mhm.
cable thing, and I didn't like the service I was getting from that provider. So when I moved here to the new house, which was the new house, oh boy, almost 10 years ago now, I dumped them and and went to the local phone provider. And it's,
Okay.
it's been okay. But yeah, I have this brand new fiber optic cable, literally running right under my house because they had to go from the junction box on the street to the pole back here. And so while my wife and I were gone, and I forget I think she had gone in for some outpatient surgery. They run this cable underneath my house to the back here. So yes, I have fiber optic just out the door.
I honestly can't believe you have ISDN.
Yeah.
That is that is nuts. Okay. Here I'm running on a gigabit internet connection.
Gigabit, yeah, and I'm running on a phone line.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's discuss this. We had an article about high insurance premiums, our latest thing weighing in on China's EV market.
Yeah.
Now, China is the world's largest EV market. What is it? About half of all EVs sold in the world are sold in China. And so I see this as indicative of what, other places will see follow.
We'll see.
And in one report, it said that EV premiums are about 25% more than a comparable fuel-powered car. Now, once again, we're talking in China. The renewal premiums increasing on EVs, even though they haven't had any accidents. Some EV owners say they've even been rejected as their daily long commutes and high mileage are seen as an elevated risk factor. And one of the big issues you get with EVs is apparently they are harder to fix after an accident.
Yeah.
Now one of the things they're trying to solve is accidents at all. This is one of Elon's things. Says he feels he can make it so that cars really don't have accidents, period, but they all have to be talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then what? And then who gets priority? These are sort of split-second decisions as to who we let go, particularly an intersection, where you come up.
They flip a coin. They'll flip a coin. They'll have a coin flip. It's either a 0 or 1, 0 or 1. And they'll have a random number generator, and that will determine who goes at the thing.
Now, the other issue, of course, is that there are not many people that are trained to work on these cars, right? So you got this shortage of replacement parts. In fact, that was one of the issues with the Russian criticism, is it takes months to get parts, whereas you can get, your European built car, or no, I remember the other one was Honda. So they were talking about BMWs and Hondas and how much easier those are to repair and to get replacement parts and take it into the dealer, and with 3 days later you can get your car back. Whereas the cars coming out of China, they could have your car for weeks, months before you get replacement parts. So this is the same issue you have where you've got a fender bender or something. It may take a while for you to get the necessary replacement parts, and that's all added expense. So,
right. Well, so globally, electric cars run 20 to 100% higher premiums. Now, a lot of
China,
that,
right?
well, it was saying in China, this was according to S&P Global Ratings.
Okay.
Now, people providing online car hailing services often drive EVs, which is one of the reasons why the costs are a little higher, because a lot of times EVs are used in it where there's opportunity to really save on fuel. Yeah. So when those opportunities present themselves, it makes a big difference. All right, so I'm not necessarily going in order today, mainly because I've recovered some issues, but I haven't completely recovered others, and I'm trying to, get through this here. Anyways, so let's talk next about the LA Times. So the LA Times says, this is an editorial, Trump and the oil companies are lying to you about electric cars to serve their own interests. So what's happening is, and Bill and I were talking about this before the show, it's like you'll see reports like electric vehicle sales are dying when they're not. And you'll see things where people will talk about the EV mandates and other things that really aren't true. Now, you do have EV mandates in California, and we've talked about how some states are trying to follow that.
13 or 14 other total states, yeah.
Now, at the federal level, Biden has tried to get the auto manufacturers to agree to make a certain percentage of all cars, not be internal combustion by, say, 2030 or 2033. That year keeps changing.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily, I don't know, it's somewhat of a mandate and it somewhat isn't. One of it is trying to pressure them into making cars that the big three haven't figured out. This is a problem. This is one of the reasons why I keep saying, hey, these companies need to buy somebody like Rivian. They need to buy somebody like Canoo. They need to buy somebody who's already making EVs so they can kind of figure out how to do it. Now, what I don't know, we talked about this a bunch of times. So let's say Ford bought Rivian as an example. Would Rivian then have to be all UAW? So I guess there's questions about things like that. Is if Ford or GM did something with a Rivian or a Canoo, then do those places have to be complete union shops?
Well, they are trying to encourage, or we could say pressure, Rivian to be more open to organized labor, because Rivian could qualify for more federal assets,
Right.
and funding and loans and grants and things like that, if they would take a more labor-friendly approach to, of course, CJ, CR, whatever. Anyway, RJ. Why can't I not remember that? Damn old age. I used to be able to remember all this stuff. Yeah. So I'm having my Biden moment. Thank you. Or my Trump moment. Don't remember. He doesn't remember half the people he's talked to. But anyway, so the company is trying to be, and the same thing with Tesla. Tesla's offering wages that are supposedly competitive with union wages to keep people. So there's a role. There needs to be a role. I won't go into details on this, but I've been a strong proponent for a long time of employee-owned businesses.
Right.
Let them be a part of the decision-making process, more than just token members on the board or anything like that. So we need to, they need to figure that out. And what happens, I don't know. First of all, because we've got Volkswagen's offered to put $5 billion into the company. So that's kind of Ford buying them is kind of a moot point. They had that opportunity.
They did. But I'm just saying, I don't understand where some of this comes. So where the big three have benefited from the labor thing is this push to help them convert existing facilities into EV facilities. But for instance, Rivian and Lucid and Tesla don't have these existing facilities.
Well, they had to buy them or build them, yeah.
Right. And now Mullen bought some old facilities and did this with stuff that they bought from GM, but it's not been the same thing as the big three getting this like $1.1 billion in assistance.
Yeah. So the very first plant that Tesla acquired was a GM Toyota plant. The Fremont plant was the largest automobile manufacturing plant in the United States. They were was it Saturns? What was it? Saturns? I forget. No, the Geos. Anyway, it was jointly run or owned or developed by GM. I forget all the details of the finances on that, but that's what it was sitting idle, and California and the federal government helped Tesla acquire that facility, and convert it over to what it is now, which was then state of the art robotics. So they've had as one person put it, he says, Tesla would not be where they are had it not been for federal help and assistance.
Right. No, I get that. Well, let's go back to the Los Angeles Times article. So
Yes. Okay.
one of the things it's saying is um, the fossil fuel industry and the GOP are spreading the same lie that the Biden administration is banning gas cars. The self-serving effort to deceive voters is shameful, even though whose peddling of disinformation has become sadly expected. Now, my other thing I have to say about this. So while Biden isn't necessarily banning gas cars, Newsom is. So Newsom is really trying to push. So you can't sell after 2035. You can't sell gas cars in California. They're trying to get rid of gas stations. So you can't create a new gas station in California. Yeah, and so they are effectively doing that in California. You can't pin that on Biden. Okay, so and I think that when Biden was running, he was a little bit more moderate. And I think as he's been president, well, he may still be, but the politics he's pushed and enabled, and this could be the people he's working with, but everything's pushed farther and farther to this side. Now, this being said, I don't see where and I'm really big on free markets. I can see from the time you and I have worked together, Bill, that free markets are going to make EVs probably achieve what these mandates we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Okay. We know it's going to happen in California.
You have to give them a little shove.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little nudge, but I think the market incentives have had a lot to do with that, and the market incentives aren't going away. So regardless of who becomes president next, that's not going to change. But it's really, I get a little tired of hearing the rhetoric from from different politicians about how EVs are. So one of the things that Trump said, he said that electric cars are adding thousands of dollars of costs to the consumer. Well, the problem is when we're talking about all the companies who haven't figured out how to profitably make an EV. This is why Tesla is the 800-pound gorilla, is because they've figured out how to make them profitably. Hyundai's figured it out. Volvo's figured it out. Those companies are going to have it. What you're going to have with the other companies is, and then I keep saying this, I'm worried about the big three. I'm worried about their survival because they can't make these cars profitably enough. If I were Ford, so there was some news yesterday. I think it's Ford in Canada is going to make Super Duty trucks at a facility they were going to make some EVs at. Now they're going to make the EVs somewhere else. It wasn't saying the article said they were abandoning EVs, but they're simply going to manufacture them somewhere else. They're not going to make them at that plant. But that, once again, that was a sort of deceptively headlined article.
Yeah, I think it's a demand issue, is that there's a huge amount of demand for those heavy, in basically business industrial grade vehicles, be it contractors or whatever, and so they're going to go, because let's be honest here, the sale for many of these guys, the sale of their gas cars, in particular their pickup trucks, is what is allowing them to fund the development of their EVs. Right? I mean, they have to be profitable, and the profit is in the selling those trucks. $50,000-$60,000 pickup trucks, right? So that's where the money is, and if they're going to fulfill and carry on with their plans to offer competitive electric vehicles, they need the funding to do that. Otherwise, what are they going to do? Go bankrupt and turn back over to the government? Well, Ford escaped that trap back in the 2000s, right? So they're the only one. GM had to take a bailout. Chrysler had to take a bailout. Ford, fortunately, were able to skirt that, probably largely because of those pickup trucks and SUVs.
You think about it. What is it? Ford is, over 100 years old, and somehow they've managed never to file bankruptcy in all that time. Yeah. And Tesla is the only other American automaker that's never filed bankruptcy, but they've only been around for 15 years. It's not
2008. Well.
That's 16 years.
But
yeah, but you know what I mean. It's very short in the history of cars. Tesla is, really pretty new company.
Damn hard business to crack. Yeah,
it
really. Look at all the car companies that that existed, let's say in the 20s and 30s, that
Right.
all went away, right? We've talked before about Auburn, the car that Amelia Earhart owned,
Hmm.
and there's a collector still has that car. Um, so that brand's not around anymore, and there were dozens of car manufacturers didn't survive, and even those that were taken over by the car companies were, where is Oldsmobile today?
No, I know it's really
Where is
kind of sad.
Saturn today?
And Saturn for those brands, I think, should come back. You
Yeah,
know,
we talked. Yeah,
because and part of it is because of the no haggle pricing, and you know what price you're getting if you go to a Saturn in Atlanta versus one in LA. It's going to be the same price.
and could they bring it back as a direct to customer sales?
Yeah, could they do that? I mean, that would be even better. I mean, Tesla's proven that there's, something to the way they're doing what they're doing. Does
Right.
that mean it's superior to the dealer network? Not necessarily. The dealer network's simply different. And so you have people who are going, a lot of people prefer to go to a dealer and
And
shop.
shop, test it, look at the colors, see how it smells on the
Right.
inside, right? How many of my dogs and kids can I pile into this thing? I mean, there is something to be said for, being able to go over there and kick the tires, literally, right? As opposed to my two cars I bought based on photographs online, right? I mean, they've worked out for me, but
Right, but it's different. People have
yeah,
traditionally wanted to go see the car they're buying.
right.
And with Tesla, you can go and you can test drive a Tesla, but that's not the one you're going to get.
No.
That's going to be their loaner car or demo car, and they're going to ship you one from wherever that car's
Hey,
gonna
have
come
you,
to you from.
speaking of Teslas, have you heard someone told me that Tesla is building a dealership over in Council Bluffs? This is across
Well,
the river from us in Iowa.
I mean, they've got a place over there that you can go test
They-
drive
Yeah,
Teslas.
yeah, you have the service center, but this supposedly was going to be a showroom. So I don't know. I didn't know if you'd had anybody confirm that or not. I
I mean,
haven't.
I don't know if that's really any different. I think people get confused by how Tesla does their
That does
car
stuff. Yeah,
sales
yeah.
because they have the service center, but you can go over there and they have cars there. It's the same thing if you went to somewhere in our state, like I've gone and test drove in like Orlando, and the facility was in a mall.
Yeah,
And you went into the mall and somebody there gave you a card and you went out and you found your car and you went and took it
right,
for a test drive
right,
and just came back. They didn't ride around with you like in the traditional model where the salesman rides around with you and you know they
right,
take your
right,
driver's license and they try to run your credit while you're out running, and
right.
you give
Exactly,
them the keys to your
exactly.
car and they try to
Yeah, here you
hide your
go.
car and tell you how much they'll give you in trade for and all that. And
All
you're
that horse trading business. Yeah.
yeah, and so you're dodging a lot of that when you do that. All right, let's get through a few other articles
Yes,
real
please.
quick. So, this one, Elon Musk says he doesn't believe in Donald Trump's MAGA or his cult of personality. The
Yeah.
Tesla CEO has been described in the past as wanting to be seen as a type of cult leader. So there's no question that Musk himself is very much like a
A
Steve
cult
Jobs or
leader.
whatever, and that he is that kind of person because there's lots of people who really like to follow Musk. He's
Yes.
certainly,
Yes.
influential person in human civilization. But there's talk about now. There's no question he's endorsed Trump. Okay, there's no question he's endorsed Trump, but he's saying that this $45 million isn't directly flowing to Trump. It's going to this PAC that he and some others
Well,
founded, and they're using it to get out the vote.
yeah, supposedly that's not even true. That he's said that he is not going to be giving. Now, somebody could come in and correct us and let us know what the truth is. But my understanding is he's not going to be giving that to the pact. He got his buddies to come in, and set up and build this pack and contribute. But my understanding, and it obviously could be wrong because things are very fluid right now, is that he's not going to give him that money. So we shall see. It's not been a good week for either him or the gentleman that he was wanting to endorse. So
Well,
gentleman, the
know,
guy.
So one of my main articles today, I wanted to talk about Lucid. So
Yeah,
Lucid is going into pre-production on the Gravity. The Gravity is their new
yeah.
SUV. It's going to be made here in the United States, and I'm assuming they're going to make it in Saudi Arabia as well.
At
I
some
wanted to
point,
show,
but the facility's down in Arizona
yeah,
where they're
and
doing.
I honestly I cannot pull up the article right now.
So,
So, anyways, they're not producing yet, but it's going to be a Model Y competitor,
mhm.
and it's probably still going to be $10,000 more expensive. But Lucids are a nicer level of car. They came in to
and
compete with Mercedes.
in some cases, even higher tech. From as hard as that is to believe, but
Right.
most of what their car was rated the Air is most
Most,
efficient car out there right now.
right. Yeah, because it's currently getting 5 miles per kilowatt hour. So Lucid's doing something with their technology. And it was actually a software update that made it get that, extended the range of the vehicles and
And,
pushed it out farther
and
than it had
yeah,
been.
and just for our listeners, if you don't know what that translates into, I ask my friendly AI, what does that mean in terms of miles per gallon? It comes out to something like equivalent to 168 miles per gallon, if you're talking in terms of,
That's
conventional
crazy
transportation.
efficiency.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's really hard to fathom that difference between a luxury car that would be getting maybe 20 miles per gallon and that,
Yeah.
you're cutting your,
Was that eight
one
times
eighth the cost.
eight times the efficiency of a Mercedes? I mean, just wow. Now
Yeah,
Mercedes makes electric cars, and I don't know what their EPA rated, MPGE, miles
yeah.
per gallon equivalent is, but I don't think it's anywhere close to 168 miles
It's
per gallon.
probably like 60% of that at best.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it might not even be that, it might be closer to half of that. So, on top of that, I like I said, I'm having trouble pulling up some pages. I had an article about Monday was rated as being the hottest day of all time.
yeah. And then the next day was even worse, Tuesday. So yeah,
Really?
we have a serious problem, planet, and all the things that we were. Right now, you and I, fortunately, it's not at ground level, but our skies are obscured here in the Midwest, right smack dab in the middle of the country, with smoke from Canadian wildfires and from wildfires in Northern California and now in Oregon. And you
Yep.
get up here in the morning,
Canada's
and
always on fire.
well, unfortunately, that's true. And I wish it weren't so, but that's all because of, I'm going to use the word climate change. And we've been warned, and even the guys at the oil companies knew this. What was that, 40 years ago? Right? They knew this was going to be a problem, and they kept lying to us. So,
Well, and that's a problem. There's no question it's a problem.
what
My
do you,
last thing, and I can't pull it up once again because like I said, I've been having some PC problems. But BMW has released a new i3 that actually looks like a car again. It doesn't look like that goofy
damn, I
looking.
really, I really like the i3 the way it was.
Yeah, it just as a
I came
BMW.
close. I came that close to buying a used one instead of buying my Fiat.
I understand, but that it doesn't look like a high-end BMW.
Oh,
Okay, it doesn't exude that look of class, and this is part of their Neue Klasse, you know,
yes, Neue.
and the
Yeah,
yeah,
Neue
but
Klasse.
Neue
Yeah,
Klasse, and they
Neue.
are it's going to look a little bit more like a station wagon, so it's going to have a little bit more, and it's going to have four doors now instead of
Instead of
well,
the
it's
two and a half.
actually the two and a half or whatever you'd call it, but anyways, yeah, I apologize, folks, because I having had some computer issues today, which I still haven't quite been able to replicate. And as far as any other information, oh, we were talking about the thing with Lucid being effective, but it didn't really give us any real updates on what kind of pre-sales they have on the Gravity. I suspect it's going to be pretty popular product, though. We'll just have to see. In my
Yeah.
opinion, Lucid came out with the Lucid Air, and it was kind of a mismatch for the market. I think it's really hard to come out and compete because they came out initially in that $150,000 price tier
Oh
to
yeah.
compete, and the fact that they haven't really sold a whole lot of them just really isn't
Yeah. They've done
surprising.
what? They've done what? Like I think they had a. Did they have a recall or something? Seemed to be there's like
They did.
12,000 cars or something like that. So
I don't think I've ever seen a Lucid here. I've seen
yeah,
them in other
yes, yes.
places, but not.
No, there's at least one here because when I was I think down visiting the dentist or something. I know get my medical physical. One drove
Mhm.
by on the road while I was waiting to pull into the street. So yeah, so
Yeah,
we have them here. We have at least one here.
yeah, at least one. I'm kind of envious of whoever does all the wraps on all of the Cybertrucks, because it seems like almost out of
I
all the
have yet
Cybertrucks I've seen, most of them are wrapped.
Yeah, I have yet to see one of those. Of course, then I spent all my time sitting here updating EV World. So
Right. No, I get it. I
yeah.
get it. I probably am out and about a lot more.
Well,
But
that's
anyways,
okay. You're my eyes
anyways,
and ears in the community.
there you go. All right. Well, that's all I had for today. Good
That
show
sounds
today,
great.
folks.
Thank you,
Appreciate
everybody.
y'all watching,
Appreciate it.
and we'll be back next week. All right.
Bye bye.